The ego is the system that runs your sense of self. It is made out of thought patterns, emotions, and behavioral loops, and the stories that try to hold it all together. Left unchecked, it creates endless existential searching, chronic disconnection, and the persistent sense that something is wrong. The goal of my videos is clarity, to see your identity and its contradictions for what they are, named precisely, to finally understand what it is that we're all running away from. You cannot be intimate with a person if you hide who you truly are. At least your intimacy will be strongly scaffolded. True connection and feeling seen by a person requires you to show the other person the parts that you don't like to show them, that you don't like to even look at yourself. And in this way, you can only meet people as deeply as you've met yourself. If you've truly looked at you and accepted even the darkest aspect of your own mind, then it becomes easier to accept other people as well and connect with them intimately, to feel their feelings and see them as a person just like you. It requires you to accept that a part of you has been, in some shape or form, evil. And it's not because this evil exists as some force out there, but it ultimately means that there's something about yourself you don't accept. Intimate relationships often give you this sense of acceptance, because if you find somebody who loves you for who you are and doesn't try to change you, then it is a healing process. Because now the stuff that you thought is so unacceptable about yourself is actually pretty fine. It's actually completely cool. And there are other people like you as well. This is where we start to, relate with each other and notice we are all human at the end of the day. And there's really almost nothing that you might be able to think of or imagine doing that hasn't been done before in some way. And this doesn't mean it relativizes what you do. Like if you kill a person, the pain that you're causing there is as real as any other person who killed another. Like the consequences are real. And if you have enacted suffering, like consequences that cost a lot of suffering for other people, for example, you might have cheated on somebody, like the amount of trust that cheating breaks is very, very underestimated. Like you might ruin the relationships that this person has with the next 3 people if you cheat on a person, if you cheat on this person. And then there's a foundational wound that this person now believes, other people are not to be trusted. And then to accept yourself for having done this, or moving on from what you've done, maybe having found some process to make amends, is very liberating, because you might start to believe that for all of the bad things you've done, you are unlovable. Something about you is too broken to be loved. And this is never true. There's always love underneath what the universe is. And this sounds very hippy-dippy, right? Like, what do you mean? Love is a human emotion. But no, I would argue that when I say love in this cosmical context, it's really about acceptance and unison. And this is what everything does at its core. It unites and divides, and it pulls together and separates. You can find it from the smallest atoms to, the biggest galaxies, to, the entire universe, to interpersonal relationships. Everything is about being in unison with another, like to cohere with another person's system, or to reject another, to hate it and don't like it, and just rejecting it. Now, it goes quite meta, right? Because you kind of also have to love rejection and be able to reject love. Because if you don't, then you might start to tell yourself that you are truly loving all the time, and then you start to lose all boundaries for what you want in your life. I found this quite often in spiritual communities where people cannot just say no. Like they assume that in order to be truly compassionate, they just have to say yes to everything. But this is actually uncompassionate to yourself. It is toxic empathy. Like if you don't follow your own principles first and foremost, then you're not just sacrificing yourself for another person, but you're not actually showing yourself to the other person. It's another form of harm almost. If you always give but don't receive enough in your perception, in this relationship, then it's kind of akin to self-harm. If you always put another person first and never look at what you really want, you will lose yourself. And it's not the good type of losing yourself. It's the type where you slowly become depressed and anxious and you don't know why. And then you wonder, okay, is it me that is wrong? And in some way, yes, you probably have neglected your own desires. And this is part of being truly seen. It's not just showing other people all of the bad deeds you've done, but to say what you really want and stand for something, to have your own principles and not move from those principles. Like, for example, you won't ever see me make an ad for a gambling company. Like, this is just a principle I have. I hate gambling. Gambling sucks. And I'm trying to think, how could this bite me in some part in the future, where you have some sort of video game that I enjoy and it has some fucking stupid gambling mechanic in it. But yeah, in general, I think gambling is extremely cancer. And often when you become an influencer at a certain point, the casino companies start knocking at your door and asking if you want to sell your soul in order to sell gambling addiction to people. And not that I've gotten these offers. I don't think this really fits with the vibe of the channel at all. But the reason I'm saying this is that, I would stand on this principle. I hate this. And this is one example out of many principles that I hold. And a lot of these are contextual. Like, I don't think that something is black and white like this. But you can see me be quite mean to people sometimes, or quite ruthless. Not necessarily online, as there's usually no need, but in my private life, if I really don't want something, the person will feel it. There's no shame to put on a barrier. And this is part of being seen, is being seen for who you really are and what you really want. And the only way you can do this is if you have actually figured out for yourself who you really are and what you really want. And a part of figuring this out is telling somebody else who you really are and what you really want. By being seen by another person for your darkest aspects or hidden aspects, you actually become authentic. You become the person that you want to be. And other people will see who you really are. And you might think, okay, but they might misrepresent who I am. They might project their own ego onto me, or they might misunderstand me, or they might judge me for, whatever it might be. And people might see their own egoic projection instead of the real you. That's why vulnerability, or like intimacy, is very vulnerable. Because people might actually look at the wound, look at the insecurity, and take a further stab in it. Betray it, hurt it, see who you really are, and then go and tell your parents. And this is uncomfortable as an understatement, but through being seen in this way, you start to move into a more authentic direction for yourself. And I facilitate being truly seen in, the ego analysis that I do. Like, I do this as service. I question people, I interrogate them, I truly try to understand where they're coming from, but I also challenge them. And from there, I know how to reveal what it is that people are hiding from themselves. And most people are hiding stuff from themselves. It is really like the standard human perception to be in denial about something and to come out and be like, not in denial about anything at all. And then to, be honest about that is also quite rare. Because, for me to be able to have this business that I'm running right now and make these videos, I had to overcome a lot of hurdles that, made me feel like I am being, too open, too vulnerable, too direct, too pretentious. it took a long time for me to find this framework and find a way that actually is effective and helps people, something that has the right language for what I'm really doing here. Because the typical, spiritual language, it just sounds very generic, and it seems like it's saying a whole lot of nothing at all. And I wanted to find the truth that is really what I'm circling around all the time. And I found it in ego architecture, to look at the ego disjointed from typical spiritual, philosophical, or even scientific narratives. Like, I do think there's a scientific truth in how all of this functions. And with scientific truth, I really mean objective truth. But it's not something that is outside of some, your ability to perceive it or understand it. No, it's like pretty much embodied at all times. Yet, like, you are it. You can see yourself always. You just might be in denial to, which extent you are already you. So being seen is the mechanism in which you find who you really are, and the way we, find connection with each other and start to actually live life. And once this happens, the love that gets liberated through truly being seen and being accepted is like nothing else. Love is one of the most beautiful experiences possible. Truly blissful to just be seen for who you really are. And the magic about truly being seen by another is that you notice, after maybe a lot of conversations and investigations and deep connection, you notice that the real connection always was you with yourself. And the real being seen part was only satisfied by you looking at yourself.